Welcome to Founder's Journey. And the next guest we have is Elnor with Claimsetter. We try to have founders here from insurtech to fintech to insurance. And Elnor is building something really cool in the insurtech space. And it's definitely going to disrupt the insurance industry. And I really say the word disrupt because everybody trying to disrupt, right? Maybe we go with enhance. But Claimsetter is a pretty cool concept, and I'm looking forward to hearing Elnor's vision of the Claimsetter and how he thinks can better our insurance industry. So enjoy the next video and enjoy the next podcast. Welcome to the show. Welcome to this episode of Founder Journey. And today we have Elnor Rozenrot, right? And correct. We're very excited to bring you, Elnor, to the show. And Elnor have a lifelong of entrepreneurship under his belt. And I was introduced to him by one of our common friends, Tim Lovett. And today, now we have him on the show. So Elnor, I would love for our audience who are listening to your journey and for them to understand what led you to entrepreneurship, what led you to building things, building tech things, and how'd you fall into insurance? How'd you get involved with insurtech? So if you can walk us through this fun journey that you've been having, and that'll be amazing.
I'd be delighted to, and thanks a lot for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I think I guess the best way I can describe why I'm an entrepreneur is because I am the world's worst employee. I can't hold a job is the best way I can frame it. Every time I tried, it didn't end well. I'm not very good at doing things just because I'm told to do them. I always need to understand why I'm doing them and what's the rationale behind them. And in most environments, that's not something that's valued. So since basically I can remember myself, my bias has always been towards either being in completely entrepreneurial positions, or just even if I was working for a big company, just having a role that was a bit different, a bit more entrepreneurial. So I worked for VC funds. I worked for I used to run innovation at some point for LG Electronics, which is again very different from what you'd normally find as a corporate job. And then I came back to being an entrepreneur. So this company, Claimsetter, this is my fourth company, I think. At this point, I barely know how to do anything else, I think, is the best way I can frame it.
A lot to unpack there. So you say you work for VC fund. So before you were on the founder side, you work for venture capital, deploying capital for tech builders. Is that correct?
Almost. I founded the company, sold it, came to the US, had a couple of jobs, then went to work for a VC fund that was deploying capital. It wasn't exactly tech companies. It was, let's say, companies that were innovating around business models around, the main theme of that fund was disruptive innovation. So how do we find companies that are practicing disruptive innovation in real life, whether it's in the US market, whether it's in India and Singapore and other markets, and then deploy capital into those. So it was less tech. It was much more around business innovation, business model innovation. And then after that, I worked for LG Electronics and went back to starting companies.
While you were there, in the VC shoes,
yes,
and you were interviewing founders, and they got 30 minutes to pitch you their idea, going through slide decks. What are you looking for? Like, what are you 4 core principle of the founder that you were interviewing? Like, what did they have to hit? What did they have to do impress you?
To be honest, I don't remember what it was 14 years ago. I can tell you what it is now that I look for whenever I talk.
What do you look for now?
To a founder. Yeah, because it's evolved throughout time, right? When I was 20, I thought I knew everything about life. Now I realize I don't even know what life is. So it's so perspectives change. The first thing I guess is I try to understand the source of conviction. There's always some conviction with an entrepreneur. So what's the source? Is it just someone strongly believing something? Is that based on actual data? Is that shakeable? or is that unshakable? And depending on the context, that's actually important. Because
That was so good. That what you just said right there was so good. But I'm sorry.
No, please. So, at least again, in my view, and this is my personal view, right? So, I may or may not be right about this. Someone who's extremely passionate about solving a problem is great. Someone who's married to their idea of how this problem needs to be solved is not great. You need to be willing to accept, I call it feedback, but it's really data. Whatever the market's trying to tell you, whatever the world's trying to tell you, and incorporate that into your thinking. Because first of all, maybe the problem you're solving actually doesn't need solutions. Maybe it doesn't hurt enough. Maybe the solution that you're bringing is not the right solution to the problem, and if you just tweak it by 5 degrees left or right, it would be better. So I try to understand where the conviction is. That's sort of one. How, on the one hand, how much do you have, let's say, faith in what it is that you're trying to solve, but also how much are you willing to listen to the world around you? There's a fine balance there that I try to understand. Second, after that is, how are you in environments where you wake up? If I were to tell you that over the next 3 years of your life, 5 years of your life, you're going to wake up and every morning someone's going to punch you in the face, and then that's how you start your day, how well would you fare in an environment like that? Do you have that basic resilience to be able to get through it? And then there's a whole host of others, but those are the two key things that I usually look for, because especially in early stages, that's really all you have to go for.
There's some quotes there that could be cut into shorts and reels that you drop some gem in there. So what made you say, okay, I'm going to go build a company? And did you bootstrap yourself? Did you get pre-seed rounds from friends and family? And then why insurance?
So I don't come from insurance. Until about 2 years ago, I was the founder and CEO of a consumer credit card company. Essentially, what we did is we gave credit cards to people with funny accents in English, like me. The idea was that if you relocated to the US to be a Google engineer, for instance, then we could give you a credit card because you had a good financial future, even though you didn't have a credit history. And I did that for about 9 years. And 2 years ago, I had enough of that, left that company, brought a new CEO to replace me. And as I was starting to think about what I wanted to do next, I spent time with a friend of mine who told me a horror story about a claim that he had. The short version of it was he had a claim. It was adjusted within about 7 days. For some reason, he didn't get money for 8 months. And as a credit guy, it just didn't make any sense to me. You have an insurance company, which is one of the best credit-rated organizations in the country, right? Committed to pay. And then you have a customer running around trying to get a loan from a bank in order to get the contractors to actually move. It just didn't add up. So I got very curious. And I went and talked to a whole lot of people. And I had these very clear, distinct moments of epiphany throughout the process. And I remember talking to a chief claims officer, for instance, who said to me, she said, I adjust a claim today, but until all the invoices come back home 9 months down the line, I don't actually know how much this claim is going to cost me. And that, by the way, gave me heart palpitations, because I don't know how you can run a business without knowing how much money you owe. So, that was sort of one. Then I went to talk to insurance agents, and I could hear them with a lot of pain, by the way. You just hear the pain in their words. Talk about how they work really hard to go and bring customers. And then when a claim happens, they know that they're going to lose about 80% of the customers that have a claim, because the experience is not going to be great. They sort of throw them over to the corporate and that's it. And they'll never see these customers again. And by the way, the ones that have been around for a bit longer talk with a lot of nostalgia about the days that they would show up with the first check, and they usually would say it was just $500 or $1,000, but it made the customer feel as if we were actually taking care of them. And then you go and talk to adjusters who are trying to do their job, but the position that they're in essentially makes their job be very much as if they're trying to protect a pot of gold from everybody that's trying to raid it. And then you talk to contractors who they're just sure that everybody's trying to short them. So I was just looking at that and asking myself, what would happen if you could just get everybody focused on the problem instead of focusing on each other, instead of focusing on defending themselves from the other? And that's kind of how we started. That was the original thought. Let's just focus on the problem instead of on each other and work it that way. And the bottom line is what we do is we make property claims faster, much easier, and in many cases also much cheaper.
Hold that for a second. Property claim is a big part of the US industry. What, $400 billion home and auto space, $450 billion today, right? When you say property claim, what sector are you referring to?
So personal or commercial, we don't care. Right now, we limit ourselves to projects up to, let's say, between $1 to $1.5 million. That's our range. With time, we will increase, but right now, that's where we are. We estimate, based on the numbers that we've seen, there's about $200 billion a year that are paid out for property claims, and out of that, right now we can touch somewhere around a quarter to a third of that amount.
Wow. These are big ecosystems that you are now touching. Who is on your team? Like when you set to build this big business, big idea, who's on your team that you have recruited, and who's your capital partner backing you guys, expertise that you guys are working with, partnership? I mean, throw some of those out there. Thank you for all your support to our channel. Here is a quick word from our sponsor. Please click on the link below in the comment section to sign up for a demo with Track AI.
What if your insurance sales conversations could work harder for you? Meet Track, your AI-powered conversation intelligence partner. Track automatically captures and analyzes every customer interaction, providing instant call summaries, risk analysis, and AI-driven coaching insights. Say goodbye to manual note-taking and hello to more selling time. Track handles the admin work while you handle the revenue. Fully integrated with your favorite platforms. Plus, get custom AI analysis tailored to your unique business needs. Transform your sales team's performance with Track. Visit track.ai today.
Click the link in the description below to schedule a demo with Track today.
We raised funding from NSAD Ventures and from Tenacity. That was the original funding. We also raised a credit facility of about $15 million from a funding provider for this, so that we'd be able to actually fund the projects that we're doing. One of the advantages of working with credit cards is that you know where to find credit. So in that sense, that was lucky. And it actually started off without any internal expertise. And this sort of part of it just comes to the way that I work. I'm very comfortable in telling people that I don't know anything, because it's true. I don't really know anything. I know how to build businesses. I know how to talk to people, but I don't know anything about insurance. I know a few things about credit cards, but I'm not an expert. I mean, everything that I touch, I'm much better at getting people to help me build it than I am at actually knowing what the subject matter expertise is. So as I went out with this basic idea of let's just get people focusing, I started with credit. I said, okay, I think that if I can front the money for the project, I can basically unclog a lot of this process. I can make things much faster. So I went and I talked to several chief claims officers and asked, okay, what do you need from this process? What's really important for you? And then I took that and then tweaked the product a bit and went to talk to contractors. And what do you need from this? And just essentially, I had somewhere around 30 different design partners working with me around putting the solution together as we were working it before I went out and hired the first person on the team. This comes down to let's say philosophy around building ventures. What you're good at, or if you go and you hire people, then you're essentially building a machine that is good at something. Now, what you're good at defines what you're bad at, and before you actually know what your product needs to look like, what the solution is, what the world you live in looks like, hiring people means that you're basically tying yourself to a machine that knows how to do one thing. Now, you may be lucky and you may be right, and that's the right machine that you need to solve this problem, but more likely you're not. So before I went and hired people, the first thing that I did was try to figure out, okay, what is the solution? What are the people that I need? What are the skill sets that I need around the table in order to make this solution work? But first of all, what's the solution? What does this need to look like? So I started with ignorance, I guess is the best way that I can frame this.
These are brave stuff. It's awesome. Like, for someone that literally just diving full speed ahead and trying to solve the problem that we have in insurance. That's pretty cool. A lot of time we say that InsurTech haven't been as successful the last 6 years is because there's a lot of smart tech-minded people coming in, but they're not hiring themselves around insurance people who can advise them and help them build. Have you seen some of that already or no?
I have, because I've been in tech and entrepreneurship for long enough. I have friends that have started InsurTech companies, so I know the space. I think that's part of it. I think part of it is also there's a culture aspect of being a tech founder that essentially makes you assume that people within the industry just don't know what's happening because they're within the industry. And I agree that there is people tend to get used to the things that they're used to when they're within a certain industry. Yes, that is true. But also coming in from the outside and just trying to break everything, especially in highly regulated environments like banking, like insurance, that doesn't fly either. So there needs to be, I think, this sort of happy, on the one hand, a lot of respect to things that are happening in the industry, to the basic realities of how the industry functions and what's really important. And on the other hand, a healthy skepticism. Okay, not desire to break everything, but a skepticism that allows you to ask, but hold on, what if we just do it this way? Or what if we do it that way? And really push for the answers rather than trying to force your answer on the industry.
A lot of questions. The more you talk, the more questions stacking up in my head. In the next 3 to 6 months, as you guys looking to take everything you have built to scale it, who are your friends? Who will be your customer, right? Like if the people listen to this podcast are insurance industry, insurance agents, insurance carriers, insurance vendors, insurtech builders, who are your ideal clients that you say, I'm going to put a link tree of all Elnor's contact information in the comment section after this podcast get released. And people are going to go to the comment section and fill out the link tree. And they can contact you. Who should be the one filling out that form?
Right now, insurance agents are the main partner that we start working with, and I'm mostly thinking about people that would be exposed to your material. The reality is that what we do is the entire space of claims is a bit of a black hole. From the moment that you throw an adjustment into the world until the moment everything settles down, it's just a black hole and nobody really knows what's happening there. And what we do is we bring transparency and control to that space. And that allows us to squeeze out a lot of value so everybody wins. So let me describe, if it's okay, in about a minute and a half our process, and that'll help explain why I'm saying that. We get brought into claims in most cases by insurance agents who want their customers to have a better claim experience. Essentially, what we tell our agents is, the agents that we work with is, listen, you can't control the outcome of the claims process, but you can control the experience. You can make sure that your customer isn't spending 4 days waiting to hear back from the insurance company. You can definitely make sure that when they submit the claim, they submit all the 7 forms that they need in one go instead of going back and forth 20 times, because this is the first time that they're doing it. They don't know what they're doing, right? So you can control the claim. And essentially, we get brought into claims very early on by insurance agents, usually pre-FNOL, in many cases right after FNOL, but around that time, we get brought in. And then the first thing that we do after we get the customer's consent to work with them is get the customer contractors. We have deep networks of contractors in all the markets we operate in, and we can usually get a contractor on the ground today. And if not today, then tomorrow before noon, usually. And by the way, if the customer doesn't like that contractor, we'll send another one and another one and another one until either the customer says, yes, I like this contractor, or we run out of contractors, which has never happened yet. As soon as that's set, we bring in a claims concierge, claims expert. This is not an adjuster, just to be very clear, to provide another set of eyes to advocate on behalf of the customer with the contractor. make sure that they've done everything according to code, that they've checked behind the fridge for mold, whatever it is that needs to be basically pulled into the light before the claim. Essentially, the main logic is if it's going to come up at some point as a supplement, let's just bring it out up front. That's the high level logic. And once that happens, the claim gets converted into an Xactimate file, sent to the adjuster, and we wait for the adjuster. Now, we wait actively for the adjuster. We reach out to the adjuster 5 times a day if we need to, 10 times a day if we need to. We have a small army of people that does that. And we ask for an answer. Now, we never tell the adjuster what to decide, by the way. We never say this should be covered or not, this should be $1 or $2. What we say is, you have all the data you need, give us a decision. Or if you're missing data, tell us what it is and we'll get you the data and then give us a decision. We just want a decision. We are here to expedite the inevitable. We do not, in any way, shape, or form, try to affect the outcome. As soon as there's an adjustment, and assuming there's a meeting of the minds, the adjuster said $100, the contractor says, yes, I can do this for $100, then we immediately step in and basically open a line of credit for the entire project to the contractor, including LCV, including supplements, including everything. So nobody's waiting for a check to arrive. Nobody's waiting for that check to go to the mortgage company and get endorsed, which usually delays things much more than the insurance company, by the way. The insurance company thinks that they're done once they sent the check, but the customer still has a hole in their roof, So essentially, they can just start working and run through the process. And by the way, the control of the payments to the contractor is completely within the hands of the customer. If the customer doesn't like the quality of the work, we do not pay the contractor. It's as simple as that. And then when the project is done, and we have a certificate of completion, a thumbs up from the customer and the adjuster, we release the last payment to the contractor, and both the customer and the contractor continue with their lives, and it is on us to collect the money from the carrier. By the way, at that point, we also get a commission from the contractor. We get a 10% commission on the project from the contractor. Nobody else pays us $1. So we go to the insurance company and get paid exactly what they wanted, what they adjusted, not $1 more. If it takes them 2 years to pay, it's our problem. If it takes them 6 months to pay, it's our problem. It doesn't matter how long it is. This is not a loan. We never go back to the customer or to the contractor. This is our problem at that point. The bottom line of what we do is this. We just actually broke the land speed record for a claim. We had a claim. I'm just extremely proud of this because we had a claim in Oklahoma, not a big one, just $23,000 a roof claim. From first contact with the customer until the roof was fully fixed and the customer continued with their life, it was 9 days. 9 days, that was it, done. From first contact until the customer continued with their life. We received the first check from the insurance company 2 weeks, the ACV, we received 2 weeks after that. We received the last check about a month and a bit after. But within 9 days, the customer was done and they continued with their life. By the way, 2 days out of that, it was raining, so we couldn't open the roof in Oklahoma because when it's raining, you don't open a roof. But that's what we try to do. Make everything faster. And by doing that, make everybody better. Everybody gets what they need out of the process. The carrier controls the process. They control the outcome. We do not influence it one way or another. The agent gets a superior customer experience for their customers and better loss rates in many cases and a whole bunch of other goodies. And they also get, by the way, revenue share from us because we're partnering with them. And because, agents do need to get paid. And the customer gets recovered much faster with zero hassle. The contractor gets paid whenever they need to, and we get our share. Everybody wins. So right now, our main focus is agencies that help us bring claims.
I'm digesting this and I'm just thinking like, wow, I can't believe nobody else has done it yet, but kudos to you to find the problem and then think of the solution to challenge it.
Thank you. Again, I wish I could take credit for the entire thing. This was designed by these 30 people I talked to, because every time I'd come back to them and say, hold on, what if I do it this way? And then someone would raise a hand and say, yeah, but that causes a problem there. So we'd have to tweak it. And we constantly tweaked and tweaked and tweaked. And I'm sure there's going to be more tweaking as we evolve. But we tweaked and tweaked and tweaked until we got to a place that nobody raised a hand anymore and said, hold on, this gives me heartburn.
Are you guys in all 50 states? How many states are you guys in?
Right now, we are in, I want to say 23 states. We're rolling out more. It's based on demand. You can fire up states very quickly. We have a very good methodology on firing up states. There's only 3 states that we don't operate in, basically by design. And that's Florida, Louisiana, and Texas. At the moment, everywhere else we operate.
Couple of states there with a lot of claims.
I know, but also a lot of problems. There's a lot of abuse of claims and claims processes there. It's maybe at some point we'll look at them, but right now there's enough opportunity in other places and enough places that we can help in other places.
What would you say is your number one state right now with the most activities?
So it depends on the weather, obviously. Recently, we've seen a lot coming out of Colorado.
You guys are in Colorado
area. We are, yes.
Wow. The fire, the tornadoes.
We've seen wind. We've seen
hail.
We've seen a lot of roofs. Yeah, so a lot of wind. I mean, to be honest, I don't even know what the weather problem was that caused it. I just know what I'm seeing. So I'm seeing roofs.
Well, Colorado supports 7 or 8 states of their water systems. So there is $6 billion a year of geoengineering, cloud seeding in Colorado, pushing all that water to Arizona, Nevada, California, right? I don't know. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. So, but maybe that causes the hail. But what's the total volume of claims you guys have handled right now? Like, as we speak on this day, 9/11, September 11, 2024.
So we launched the company about a year and a bit ago. So we're fairly new. We are now in the low double digits of claims at the moment. So everything is relatively new, and we're pushing. I'm actually expecting to see much more than that coming in over the next couple of months. We made some amazing hires that are bringing some very good partnerships on board. But anyways, my main obsession right now is working out the kinks in the process. There's always kinks, and my biggest obsession is to get claims below 7 days. I want to get claims, especially simple claims, to be done within 7 days. If afterwards it takes me another 6 months to get the money from the carrier, that's fine. But I want the customer to continue their lives in 7 days.
Is it condo renter, homeowners, landlords? Well, I mean, when you say properties, are you Airbnbs? I mean, are you like covering across the board, or?
We don't care. If you need a contractor to fix it, then we're it. It's as simple as that. So far, almost everything we've seen has been homeowners, single residences. We've had several that were more than that, but we can do anything in that sense. It's not a problem. The process is similar.
Impressive. So, if we look forward, are you attending any events? Talk about your companies. I mean, ITC Insight, ITC Vegas, InsurTech Insights, Claim World. I mean, what are the events you're going to in the future?
So right now I'm committed to ITC. I'm going to be in Vegas. I'm also going to be speaking at the several networks that we're launching with. So in America, for instance, we're going to be attending their event, and there's several others like that. Connected claims, we're still trying to figure out if that's the best place for us. Mostly because we're not really at the stage that we're talking to carriers. Carriers are great, but first of all, they move much slower, and we need faster movement. And second, I think they'll need to see more of a track record before they seriously engage. So, as lovely as Austin is, I'm not sure we're going to be there this year. We'll see.
Thank you for coming on the show. But before I let you go, I want to ask you a question. A year from now, when I have you back, what are some of the comfortable goals and uncomfortable goals you have set for yourself for the next year?
Let me step back and say this. Every year in this country, there's about $200 billion that are paid into claims. Eventually, and I don't know whether that means 5 years from now or 20 years from now, I would like us to have 10% of each one of these claims.
Wow.
And then we can start talking about other geographies. We can start talking about other types of claims. But this problem of different sets of interests trying to just make the money flow in the right way, I think it's a much bigger problem than just property. Right now, we're here. So in order to move anywhere else, we need to master this. That's what we're aspiring to. So if I break it down into where we need to be next year in order to be able to go after that goal, I would like for us to be processing at least between $10 to $20 million a month worth of claims, at least, and growing at a very happy pace.
That's awesome. Well, I hope people can connect with you after they listen to this episode and take away from this episode that you don't have to be from insurance to solve problems. Elnor, thank you very much for coming on the show, and I'm looking forward to seeing you and meeting with you in person at ITC Vegas.
Look forward to it too. Thank you very much for having me.